Mark Carney just humiliated a pro-Trump reporter in the middle of a conference during the G20 summit, proving why he's capable of leading Canada from the front.
Since the U.S. called off trade talks with Canada, has Mr. Trump returned your calls, texts, or accepted your apology over the Ontario ad?
He accepted the apology when I spoke to him, and we've had discussions. I've been busy. There's another point, though. I've been busy. We passed a budget with that's going to catalyze $1 trillion of investment. We have launched new trade agreements. We've secured new investment in the country of a size not seen arguably before. So we're busy. He's got other things to do, and we'll re-engage when it's appropriate.
He walked into that room prepared to discuss global strategy, but one reporter tried to derail the conversation by asking about Donald Trump. Carney, with a calm and calculated response, reminded the reporter that Canada's foreign policy is no longer shaped around what Washington wants, what Trump says, or what American pundits speculate. It's shaped around strategy, impact, and results. The things he actually came to the G20 to talk about.
When was the last time you spoke to the president? And as you diversify trade away from the U.S., what's your red line? Like in terms of dealing with other countries, I mean, what are the conditions where you won't do business with another country no matter how much money it has?
Well, I think let me answer the second part of that, which is there's levels of engagement with countries. Our partnership with the European Union, for example, is at a level prospectively that is unmatched with other jurisdictions because we have similar values in terms of privacy, for example. We have similar values in terms of sustainability. We have similar values in terms of workers' rights. We have similar values, to go to the previous question, in terms of gender equality, LGBTQ rights. And all of that reflects. So the level of economic cooperation, defense cooperation, security cooperation. We have similar views about territorial integrity in Ukraine.
Under Carney, Canada is no longer playing by the old script of economic dependence on a single superpower. Instead, his government is building a dense web of trade, investment, and strategic alliances across continents and sectors. At the G20, Carney underscored one of his signature goals: to double Canada's non-US exports over the next decade. That means moving beyond traditional trade corridors and opening new markets in Africa, Asia, the Middle East, and beyond. The world saw concrete signals of this shift in Johannesburg. Canada launched talks with South Africa on a Foreign Investment Promotion and Protection Agreement, FIPA, to create predictable rules for two-way investment and trade flows. That move alone flips decades of trade logic. Canada seeking opportunity in emerging markets rather than defaulting to the same old partners.
So our level of cooperation with the European Union, with the United Kingdom, is on a different level than our level of cooperation with other countries. So there's that aspect. Other countries in the emerging world where there's levels of cooperation which are more in commodity-based trade, goods and everyday goods and services, but don't extend to those broader partnerships. So all relationships are not equal; they're not of equal depth, and certainly it's not the case. This is an important point. When we engage with a country, Canada engages with a country, that we're endorsing everything that country does. The two do not follow. We calibrate our relationship, but it's not an endorsement of everything that happens in the country, nor vice versa from those countries to us.
Next question.
Who cares? I mean, it's a detail. It's a detail. I spoke to him. I'll speak to him again when it matters. I look forward to speaking to the president soon, but I don't have a burning issue to speak with the president about right now. When America wants to come back and have the discussions on the trade side, we will have those discussions.
Everyone expected Carney to stumble, dodge, or sugarcoat. Instead, he delivered a surgical answer. Canada plans for all scenarios. It diversifies partnerships, and it does not base its future on a single political personality. He emphasized that Canada's approach under his leadership is long-term, resilient, and global. This wasn't just a clever reply. It was a message to every government watching. Canada will no longer behave like America's anxious neighbor. Carney used the G20 stage to highlight the new direction of Canada, and the Trump-focused question only helped him underline the contrast.
I'm going to answer a potential question here, and then I'll pass back, which is, for example, with respect to Ukraine and the 28-point plan. We are a core member of the Coalition of the Willing. You would have seen a demonstration of that yesterday with the meeting of European leaders, a core group of European leaders, the Prime Minister of Japan, ourselves, which formed a common position. And that common position is communicated. Our national security advisors are meeting today in Geneva, including Canada's, and the common position communicated to do the additional work that's required on the peace plan there. Each of us do not need to call President Trump and communicate that position. We need to forge that position. That position's been communicated. The follow-up is being done by our national security advisors. I will be speaking with President Zelensky later today just to close the loop on some aspects of that. Okay.
Next question.
Carney reminded reporters that Canada is not a passive observer. With a long-standing security partner to Europe and one of Ukraine's earliest and most consistent supporters, Canada has already committed over $9.7 billion in military, financial, and humanitarian assistance to Ukraine since 2022, placing it among the top contributors relative to GDP. Then he went further. Carney outlined his 28-point plan for Ukraine's long-term defense, reconstruction, and economic stabilization, including rebuilding the energy grid, providing food security guarantees, and establishing a NATO-aligned training framework. Carney made it clear that Canada is a core contributor to the EU, not geographically but strategically, and that Canadians will absolutely have a voice in shaping Ukraine's future. It was the clearest sign yet that Canada intends to influence European security, not just applaud it from the sidelines.
This year's G20 summit brought together nations representing 3/4 of the world's population, 2/3 of global GDP, and 3/4 of the world's trade. And that's without the United States formally attending. It's a reminder that the center of gravity in the global economy is shifting. The last century was defined by concentration of capital, production, and power. The next one will be defined by diffusion of technology, of energy, and influence, by the rise of the Global South and new roles for middle powers like Canada, to multilateral arrangements that work for all. Our task is to ensure that Canada doesn't only endure this shift, but that we prosper under it.
Carney also used the G20 platform to send a clear reminder about Canada's place in the world. He stressed the gravity of the G20 summit that gathered countries representing over 85% of global GDP, 75% of global trade, and 2/3 of the world's population. A concentration of power, money, and political influence unmatched anywhere else. He emphasized Canada's position as the world's 9th largest economy by GDP PPP, a top 5 producer of critical minerals, and a rising center of AI research and clean tech innovation. In his words, Canada is not a country to be sidelined, not today and definitely not in the future. He reaffirmed that Canada's economic strength, technological capacity, and expanding diplomatic footprint make it a serious global actor, not a junior partner waiting for instructions. Carney made sure Canada was not treated like an afterthought. He humiliated the U.S. reporters in front of the world, ensuring that Canada spoke and was heard like one of the power brokers.